from a fallout shelter somewhere under Seattle, Washington, it's the show you've been waiting for. Get ready to join your hosts, John and Kenric, as they talk comics, movies, and more. Now here's Spoiler Country!
All right, welcome back to Spoiler Country. I'm Kenric, and that is Mr. Horsley. And today, well, it's kind of an not advanced, I don't want to say that. It's a special edition of the Kickstarter Signal Boost only because we have a Signal project, it's a Signal Boost, but it's a single project.
Yes,
that we're discussing, which is rare, but cool.
It is cool, and we've done it before with Ron Randall and with Car Castle before, but this one's kind of interesting because this is an idea that it's near and dear to my heart. I love it. I'm actually in book 2 of this. It's called The Advocator, and basically with the idea, they'll talk about it more in the interview, but I'll tell you now, just so you know, Kenneth. I know I haven't actually talked. I don't think I've actually even talked to you about this book yet. But the idea is it's kind of like a Kickstarter Signal Boost.
We've talked about this book already.
Oh, have we? Oh shit!
But no, I'm kidding. I was just trying to dispel the magic, but you just totally threw back the curtain.
Look, it's been a while since we've recorded, and it has
the holidays. It was Thanksgiving, and then Christmas, and then New Year's, and literally, I don't think we recorded one episode in December.
No, because it was all like stuff we had banked, and this is our first time recording in 2019. So,
yeah, Happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah, Happy New Year. So the book is basically a Kickstarter Signal Boost in book form. The idea is they get it's basically 6 people who have other books they're working on or other storylines, and the Advocator tells a short story within their own universe, right? And then people buy the Advocator, and it gives them ideas to oh, these are cool stories. I'm going to go pick up their book from say Travis or from Rob or somebody else, or for me. And the idea is to basically have everybody's fans or whatever and new people pick up the Advocator and then read these great indie stories and then go pick up the other books. And each person who does a book or does a story can get their copies of the book, with a cover that they've made, and then have something else at the table to sell with these other stories in it and with your story in it too.
Interesting. Is not to be mean, but is there a simpler way to say this? There
is, and I just rambled a lot. Basically, it's
okay, I'm just making sure it wasn't just me, because I'm like, wow, that was a lot in a very short amount of time. So basically, there's short stories, and each story represents a separate Kickstarter that's going on. And if you like that, you can go to the Kickstarter and submit and purchase that book along with the one that you get for the Advocator.
Not exactly. So it's other people's books that are already printed or whatever. So you use the Advocate. People can use the Advocator to find new stories and then go purchase the books from the creators, whether it be from a table at a con or on their website or whatever.
Okay, so it's another way to get independent artists' name out there.
Yeah, but instead of it being like submit a story or whatever, these are all like stories that aren't published elsewhere when it's first published.
Yeah.
So they're like for me, for Ein's anthology, it's going to hold issue 2 is going to have a 4-page Ein story that's not available anywhere else, to where you can read a 4-page Ein story and then go pick up the Ein's anthology and read more in that world.
So it's an original story specifically for the Advocator.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool. That's cool.
Yeah,
that's an interesting. That's a cool, interesting idea.
Yeah, and I found out about it because when Travis was on the Signal Boost last year, sometime for Broke Down and 4 Dead Bodies. After we were done recording, he was telling me about it. I'm like, dude, I want in on that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Really cool. So I'm going to be in issue 2, which will come out in like 3 months, something like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very fun. Very fun. Well, let's check out what Rob AnderSin and Travis Gibb and the Advocator.
And me. I'm there too.
Yeah, but you're always there.
Yeah, true. And here they are.
Let's check out the conversation.
It's assuming, of course, this thing wants to record. All right, says it's recording.
Well, like I said, man, like I promote your stuff all the time because I'm like, I did really well. I got a couple of backers, and then I connected with one of your other people who you did on their report. Connected with me.
Nice.
Shared my stuff out with them. The Tommy Gunn.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, he was like, "Hey, can you share my stuff out, and can we share trades?" I was like, "Yeah, man, let's share."
Hell yeah. These are fun to do, and I mean, I feel like it helps somebody, so that makes me happy.
Yeah. I think I did good. Some dude messaged me and talked to me for like a half hour one day after the thing. Hey, I heard your thing on.
Hell yeah.
I have a whole bunch of questions about the book before I bid. I was like, okay.
That's cool. That's cool. All right, so we're recording now. So let's go ahead and get into it for Advocator. So I'm with Travis and Rob. Why don't you go ahead and tell us about what the Advocator is?
Rob, you're the better you've got the better sales pitch thing. Go ahead and share it out.
All right. Well, the Advocator is a collection of short stories from indie creators who have their own pre-established franchises, now offering continued short stories of the characters that you have fallen in love with, and may even gain some insight into these characters. For some of our creators featured in this volume that you're already a fan of, you're getting a new story that has never been seen before. The Advocator Presents is a new way to advocate for creators and their creations by allowing and challenging them to create new stories within the worlds and then advocate for each other on the Comic-Con highway. The great benefit of this project is that the creators are all equal. And the only way to make profit off of this creation is for them to do their hustling at their tables at Comic-Cons.
I love it. That's a great spiel.
Thank you.
So what brought the song? What was the kicker behind making this a project?
Well,
Travis.
I'll get this. Yeah, it was definitely me. Like, all right, so in the comic thing, there's two different ways to break into the comic industry, right? You create your own comic, or you go in 3,000 anthologies.
Right.
John, you're a creator, so you've gone to, how many anthologies have you done?
I have no idea anymore.
Right. Exactly. But none of them ever help you, really.
No.
Right? You get your name out. Maybe you'll get some work. Maybe someone will talk to you. But it doesn't really help you. So what we wanted to do is create an anthology that actually helps people, that builds someone's brand. So it allows people to build their brand up. So we took people's established brands. We didn't take ownership of anything and allowed them to produce it in this book. And we decided to do it quarterly. So we'll do it every few days, every season.
Seasonal.
And it's really, really cool. It's a really, really cool project, and it allows us to connect with people. And we're connecting with people who are successful, who've done something, who've been on Kickstarter. We may, again, eventually allow new creators on it, but for right now, we're doing people who've only created and put something out into the world and connecting them.
It's such a cool concept. I remember when I first heard about it back after I talked to you the first time, and I was like, man, this is a great... Why has nobody done something like this before? At least not recently. And with the crowdfunding world we live in right now, this is a great way for people to, push their product as well as find new products through this from something somebody else loves. So if you have say 4 books in one, or 4 stories in one book, or however many, that brings in fandoms from all sides to find new stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That's the plan, is to get people to share audiences, really. Because my audiences may like Welcome to the Void, which is in the book, or they may like Binary Star or Modern Testament, and vice versa. We're sharing our audiences because people who buy indie books are willing to buy other indie books, right?
Right,
it's
exactly.
Just common sense.
That's what
In issue 2.
I am. I'm in issue 2. I haven't been quite active on the group because I've been kind of out of Facebook for the last 2 months, but I've got the stuff ready to go for issue 2, which I'm excited for.
Yeah, exactly. And Rob's also in issue 2. So we've got really, I should be interviewing you guys about issue 2 right now is really what we should be.
Well, we can do that again some other time, right? When that one comes up.
Absolutely. But we're doing well. We're on Kickstarter. We've got 30 more days or so, or 28. And it's been doing well. We're halfway to our goal.
Already? Dang, you just went up too, right?
Recently, yeah. Well, we're not quite halfway. So it's 27 is our goal, and we're at 1,024 as of right now.
Nice. That's pretty quick. It's awesome.
Yeah.
What stories were in the first book?
All right. I will do half, and you can do half. How's that, Rob?
Go for it.
All right. So I am going to grab obviously Broke Down in 4 Dead Bodies. So Broke Down in 4 Dead Bodies, I have a 4-page story in there using the original artist. So most people have a comic. You've had a couple of false starts when you first start. This is one of my false starts with a guy named Stephen Preston. Great friend of mine. It was no fault to his own that it didn't happen. Just he got busy. If you guys are into like Vampire the Masquerade or Werewolf, have you ever played any of those, John?
Oh, yeah. I used to play Vampire the Masquerade as a kid.
Oh, yeah. So this guy's an Exalted artist. When Exalted came out, he was one of the artists, so that's where I found him.
Oh, nice.
And Exalted took all his time, and that's why he didn't do, the Broke Down story. So I have a 4-page in there of myself. We have Binary Star, which is our feature of the week. Binary Star is by this cool chick called Jamie Primack, and I think she's up in your area, in the Chicago area. You're up there, right? Twin Cities area?
I'm in Seattle.
Oh, you're in Seattle. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, she's got a book. It's a kind of a space opera, kind of a Star Wars-esque bounty hunter thing. It's really, really good. She's on her second trade. She's working on her second trade right now. She already came out one, killed it, funded really quickly, and now she's on the second one. And then the last one we've got on my end is Modern Testament. Modern Testament is done by a guy named Frank Martin. Frank Martin killed it with this book. He's got so Modern Testament was this trade paperback of basically retellings of biblical tales, but it's not Christianese. It's not like preaching to you.
Right.
It's kind of like crazy dark versions of biblical stories. So he's got a 4-page in there of Noah and Noah's Ark.
Nice. I like dark retellings of things that people don't think should be dark. Those are fun.
Right,
Always.
exactly.
What else you got in that book?
And then we also have Welcome to the Void 0.
Ooh.
Was one side of the coin. Here's the other. This is Welcome to the Void 0.5, where Chuck gives us a view from inside the void into what's going on in his smash hit Kickstarter from last year, and that's from Chuck Pino. And we have also from Joseph Duas, Mary Revised. If someone you love died, would you remember them for who they were or who you wanted them to be? And rounding out the team is Connor Bartel with Grimwood's Crossings. It follows monster hunters in the Wild West in the short story. They hunt down the ghost of a witch that has been haunting the trails into the town. Some amazing art from all these different teams, and we're just mentioning the creators who are running the team. They obviously have artists involved with them. If you don't mind, I want to give a shout out to the artists as well.
Go right ahead. Please do.
And for Modern Testament, you have Dan Scasilli. Is that how you say it with Modern Testament?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how you say it.
Okay. And then Binary Star is all Jamie Primack. She does everything. We didn't mention that.
That's impressive.
Yes. And credit to Travis Gibbs using Martha Schwartz as the actual letterer. And colorist. And the letterer is going to be Jerome Gagnon.
Gagnon. Yeah, he's awesome. He's the guy who did the Broke Down one. He kills it.
Nice.
And then Grimwood's Crossing is going to have Agnew Ilhan as the interior artist. And that's, again, by Connor Bartel. And Joseph is using for Mary Revised L. Nismat for his interior artist. And Chuck, because we didn't mention his, Welcome to the Void has written by Chuck. It's got Sean Barber as the interiors. Kitty Pierce is the colorist. And believe it or not, I get a lettering credit on that one.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah. That's all because of Travis.
Nice. It's funny. So there's 6 stories in the first book, right? Is that what I heard?
Well,
correct. There's 6 stories, and there may be a 7th if people fund. We have a stretch goal of adding another story to it.
Nice. Of those 6 stories, I've had 3 of them on the show.
What?
Yeah. I've had you, I've had Grimwood Crossing, and I've had Into the Void on the show before for Kickstarter Pseudo Boost.
Wow. All right. See, so you're already a backer, whether you want to or not. You have to back. You support these guys.
I have to. It's like built into the blood here. Now I have to. They've been on the show, and I've got to do it. That's cool. You were saying the names. Like I remember seeing the names, in the group we were in. And but again, like I said, I've been off Facebook focusing on, because my book comes out, or my book goes to Kickstarter on February 1st. So I've been basically focused on that and focused on like work and stuff like that. So I've been like totally off of Facebook for the most part, which is good and bad. Good because it gives me free time. Bad because I miss out on so much crap going on. But yeah, I recognize some of those names, and when I first looked at it, I was like, oh, I've talked to that guy, I've talked to that guy, I've talked to them.
Well, just a show. A testament of your show, man. Like you know who's doing stuff and you know who to talk to. So that's a good thing.
I like to think so. Like it was funny because after last month's Signal Boost episode, Kenric, my co-host, and I were talking, and we're like, he goes, I wonder how many people that we've had on the show were actually successfully funded based upon the ones we picked to have on the show. And I was like, I don't know. So I'm a big stat whore. I love stats. So I went and I pulled the list of all the people I had on the show, all their Kickstarters, how they funded and stuff like that, and found out that of all the Kickstarters we've done, or all the boosts we've done, 93.25% have been funded.
Wow.
That's 5 out of 47 Kickstarters we've talked about on the show.
So out of 47, how many? What's the exact 47?
It was like 93.25% or something like that.
So basically one didn't fund.
Yeah, one didn't fund, and there was one other one didn't fund because the guy canceled it.
Okay.
So the two non-funds, one non-funding because he canceled.
Right.
So it's like, yes. And we had one of them where we talked to the people on like 3 days before that ended, and they were $1,000 behind. We posted the episode, and they actually hit funding like 3 days later.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's cool, and it's cool to see books like this come out that help spotlight indie books. Because as I always say on any episode I talk to people about Kickstarters, is the hardest part is getting the word out. The hardest part is getting people to find your damn book. Because people put a lot of love and care into these books, and you can find good stuff in almost any indie book you pick up that you're willing to shell out money for. The hardest part is getting someone to find that book, which is the main reason why I started bringing people on talking about them. And it's cool because I feel like you're kind of doing something very similar with the book, although in a different way, to where you get new stories, and it's more so, hey, let's pull together and promote everything at once.
Yeah, well, you got to think of it this way. All right, so let's talk. So you funded 46 of the project, or 45?
Yeah.
44?
Yeah, 45 for 4, yeah.
So of those people, now they have their books, and they're trying to sell them. So they're going to the con circuit, because that's phase 2, right? You have your books, you're going to fund too. Most of them are not, because a normal table is between $120 to $200.
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to fund that with a $5 book.
No.
Right? So they have their $5 book. So what this does is this book gets them into the hands and gives them something extra to sell at their table. And we're giving to them relatively for free, because all it is 4 pages. You got to pay for your art, but you're not paying for a full book. But they get that book, and they can bring it to their cons and sell it. They can add it as Kickstarter levels and future things.
Yep.
They own the rights to everything, and you can reprint it. They can even reprint it themselves, so they don't have to even go to us for a reprint. As long as everything stays 100% the way it is, they can reprint it, which is awesome.
That is awesome. That's really cool.
So that's what our goal to do, is help people get to that next step, because they're one way. They need to get to that next step, and this is how we're helping them do that.
Well, too, and from a creator point of view, and from a fan, because I'm a huge I grew up as a comic fan, reading comics from the time I could read. I mean, I learned to read from comic books, right? Literally, I wasn't reading at all. My dad started giving me Wolverine and Batman comic books, and I started reading all the time. And so from the aspect, going to a table and seeing people have their book, plus they have here's a collection of stories that has a new story for my series in it. As a fan, that's like, oh, I can buy this and get a bonus story plus other stories from this, from something I like. And then from a creator aspect, it's like you have that extra, like you said, you have that extra ability to sell something, which the more content you have to sell, you don't want to overdo it, but the more varied content you have to sell at your table, it gives you the better ability to make that table cost back plus more.
Exactly. That's the goal, right? And it's allowing you to build your brand out without having to front another issue.
Exactly.
It allows you to continue to keep, because an average comic, would you say about 4 months it takes, 4 to 5 months to produce 2 issues of a comic?
Yeah.
You're right. So it takes, so in a normal comic, an indie guy is producing 2 to 3 comics a year if they're doing it right. This allows you to have another thing to kind of fill that gap and not lose your fans' interest, because they'll lose interest if they don't hear about it or do something about it.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're not putting out content in some way, fans will forget about you, because there's so much out there. There's so much good stuff out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and having something like this, like I was saying, I've done tables both as just an artist selling art and prints, and then as a creator selling books and art and stuff like that. And having books on the table makes it so much easier to make money, make your content back, your money back, because the fact that when I was selling some of my books like a couple years ago, I was able to say, hey, you can buy, I think I had 7 or 8 different books on the table, and you can buy, individually for $4 a piece. You can buy all of them for 30 or whatever, 20, whatever I put on it. And I was able, I sold those bundles of everything, and I'd still make money back on it, because my cost is obviously a lot lower. I can make my table back on selling those bundles of books, and it made it a lot more worth it to go than having something like this extras is just, I don't know. I'm a big fan of this idea. So that's all I'm trying to say.
Well, yeah. Well, especially you're an artist, right? So you can draw something. So that gives you at least something.
Right.
For writers, we have nothing extra to give to somebody.
Right.
If you don't buy the book, I have nothing for you. I can't write you a story real quick. Nobody wants that, right? So at least you can sell like sketches or something like that to try to make table or to try to make up the difference. I've got nothing. I'm just going to let someone down.
I didn't even think of that, but you're right. If you're writing, you've got the book or nothing, pretty much.
Right. Exactly. So Rob and I are in that boat. So we're just like, all right, just please buy our book.
Well, have you tried learning how to draw? Expand your horizons a little bit.
But what, Rob, will you tell about Indie Advocators and what you do on a regular basis and how it kind of connects to this?
Indie Advocates is the global digital Comic-Con. Its intention is to help give any creator a soapbox to be heard. Unlike all the other sites that have indie in their title, we don't focus on Marvel, DC. We're not even worried about site hits. We recently came to the conclusion that we can no longer support putting fan art on our site as it takes away from creators' creations. We want everything to be 100% original. We might give people the ability to do fair play stuff like mockery and such, like making light of something. But for the most part, we're looking for original content to boost indie comics because I believe that indie comics is where the future is. And I think it'll stop the reboot culture that we live in. With that in mind, Indie Advocates is actually the inspiration behind the Advocator and actually the evolution of it. While we can only advocate online for people as they have new projects and continue that, this allows people to literally take other people's works into new environments that they would never be in before. Me and Chuck are in Florida, but we have people now. Well, you said you're in Washington, right?
Right, yeah.
So you would, in the second Advocator, which we're both part of, my book is now going to go to Washington. I have no immediate plans living in Florida to be able to make it out to Washington with a 3-year-old son and trying to deal with the schedule. Because during the summer, there are just too many shows in Florida and in the Northeast to justify going to Washington. Right. But now you're going to take me to Washington. And you know what? I'm taking you to Florida. Hell and I'm taking you to every place across the Northeast, which I'm sure you don't do a lot of shows on the Northeast.
No, none. I West Coast only right now.
See, and now we've suddenly been able to advocate for each other. And one of the things I've said on many videos, and I do this with my own book, and Travis has seen this, when I talk about one of the anthologies I'm in, The Fourth Monkey, I don't mention my book. I mention I have a story in it, but I pick another story to talk about. And I get the people excited about the other stories in the book to talk about the other creators. Right. The idea behind that is that, first off, the people will see he's a fan of comic books. Because, look, he's not trying to pitch me his book. He already pitched me his books. He's got a story in here, but he's more interested in the people that are in the book. And that suddenly opens up this whole, like, supporting indie comics and really shows them that we're all working together. And the second great part about that is I'm advocating for people who are awesome at my table. And that's what this project can really do. It can bring, we've had so much division in the last couple of years. This is a way to bring us together and to support each other in real time. And I'm so excited about it. I've been talking about the Advocator all year since Travis started making me do this. And I don't mean that as a mockery toward Travis either. Like Travis, and I always say this on the interviews we do, I was at a point where we had just changed our name from Written Sins to Indie Advocates. No one understood Written Sins. It took too long to explain. So I was spending half my pitch time talking about why I named the site Written Sins instead of just naming it Indie Advocates, which rang out better. Yeah. So we'd had this anthology that we were going to do about sins. Me and Chuck were part of it. When we changed the name, I was like, I don't even know what to do with this anymore. I was kind of feeling burnt out. I had a couple nagging injuries, and Travis is like, well, that's a really good idea, but it's complicated. It's like, why don't you just do what you do and advocate for people and make a book where people can advocate for themselves? And I'm like, that's a good idea, Travis. I was like, I don't have a lot of work on my plate, but sure, I'll do your anthology for you. And nice. I figured, like, most people give me an idea and they just go away. You know, like, they give me their idea and they leave me alone, and then I don't do it and I do what I want to do.
Right.
But, like, Travis not only called the same day to tell me more of his idea, but called me the next day and called me the next day.
Nice.
And then called me on the fourth day. And on the fourth day, I said, Travis, why don't you just become the project manager? Why don't you run with this? And I got your back. What you need, you just tell me. Because at the time, and I don't know if this is necessarily true anymore because Travis has come a long way in a short time, but at the time, I pretty much had a pulse on the amount of people we could come to the project. And just saying my name got people interested in it. because they knew the integrity that I had built up.
Right.
And Travis ran with it, and he brought his own people in, and he brought people in like Connor, who I don't even think we were friends. And he brought in Frank Martin, who I didn't know. And we brought Chuck in as the editor for the whole project, and he's the indie darling. And I don't mean that as a negative thing. People really love Chuck. I'm trying to bottle it and sell it. Whatever Chuck's doing, I want to bottle and sell at my table for other indie creators to be the indie darling as well. So it's exciting. Great. And credit to me and Travis. I got to say this because it's so important. I want other people out there who are indie comics. I know we talk a lot about diversity, and this was something that we definitely were not only worried about, but we wanted to take into considerations. And one of the things that me and Travis said right away is we wanted a woman creator part of the team.
Right.
Because I think it's very important that we show that we support. And some people are like, oh, you don't have to make room for women creators. I would disagree. I think that we have women creators out there that are great and fantastic, and they deserve a spot in something like this. And me and Travis wanted to make sure that there was a woman creator in every issue of The Advocator, and that's a commitment we made.
That's awesome. Yeah, because there's so many great female creators out there right now that it's just great to see them get more than they used to, more publicity out than they used to, which is awesome.
Yep, and I mean, Jamie was someone I was a huge fan of, and I said, Travis, do you know Jamie? He's like, I've seen her work. He's like, do you think you can get her? I was like, I know Jamie. She's also a friend of mine. We've talked a few times, and I've helped her promote. I'm sure she'd be excited for it. Came on, was super excited. We got Martha already lined up for the spring edition, which she'll be bringing Seedseeker, who's ironically Travis's colorist, which means she'll be the third person to be in both titles, because Mary Revised is actually an 8-page story that will continue into The Advocator.
Oh, cool.
Spring edition. Yeah, so it's kind of exciting. We want to build something, and I'm sure Travis agrees with this. We want to build something that surpasses me and Travis. Like one day we want to be out there signing our comic books, hopefully working either for a company or working as a company.
Yeah. And
seeing that people are still bringing us copies of The Advocator, that we have passed it on to the next generation. This is not something we want to own. I say it on every interview I've done so far, and I'll say it again. I want people to copy this model. I want people to work together. I don't care if they rip the name Advocator off. As long as they have quality standards in it and they're not putting out crap, I'm okay with them even calling themselves The Advocator, so long as they follow the one premise, and that's a very important premise. No one makes money on the project. Right. You only make money by selling the books at your table or putting them on a Kickstarter if you want. You can't sell it online. That would be something that we have talked about. For now, we're not allowing online sales. We might do online sales as a trio, me, Chuck, and Travis, and we would be doing that to raise funds to keep like a pot, because we've talked about future goals that are even getting everyone together at a booth at like a New York Comic-Con and have like awesome. An Advocator book, but we have to get there. We're in the very early stages of this. And that's why we're so passionate about it. Every time I go on it, I have a huge smile on my face. And I don't like being on camera that much. I try to avoid it as much as I can. I heard podcast. I was like, awesome. I don't have to do my hair.
No makeup, no hair, you're good.
No, exactly. Just roll out of bed. And it's right behind me, my bed, because my computer's in my bedroom. So I'm all happy with just rolling out of bed.
I'm laying in bed right now, actually, because my kids are in the living room. So I decided to take my computer to the bed and do this.
There you go. Exactly. And my son's actually being watched in the living room.
Nice.
So, we want to make this something, because as creators, like you're just saying, we're still parents.
Yeah.
We're still, we're married. We have relationships that we also have to do. We need to support each other. Day jobs, exactly. Like, people got to make money. Everyone assumes that when you have a $35,000 Kickstarter, you're going to buy a home and a car.
Yeah, no.
No one understands the costs. I know a lot of people who raised $35,000 and still came out of pocket for like $1,000 or $2,000.
Oh, I know. So do I. So many people.
Yeah. See, like people don't. I've actually said it to Travis. I'm nervous about having a really popular Kickstarter.
Yeah.
I'm super nervous about it because I know the math. And I know if you made one mistake and then you times that one mistake by 1,000, you've just now made $1,000 mistake.
Exactly. So easy. So easy. I was going to say, you can hear the excitement in both your voices coming out about this project, which is awesome. And just the fact that you're okay with people copying this idea shows so much that the idea is more about advocating and promoting versus just, a cash grab, which I can fully support, and it's just amazing. I love the fact that the whole idea is just to help everybody out and to make things better, which is awesome.
Well, and one of the things I want to, especially since you're such a comic-rich podcast, we have not put anybody in issue 3 yet on purpose, and 4. Once this is live and people have been messaging us like crazy since this came out.
Yeah.
The reason why is if anybody's interested or anybody hears this podcast, message us, join the group, join the community, and we'll find a place for you because we want you guys part of this. This isn't us. We handpicked the first 2 issues. Absolutely. We'll absolutely admit it. But, going forward, after this first year, we'll probably handpick again for the next 2 to make sure it's successful. We can build a brand. But eventually we're going to have councils and votes, and we'll make it all work, Yeah,
this could be awesome. I mean, I see a bright future for this idea. I mean, because it's something I'm going to back. And I actually didn't realize it was live today. I mean, you told me it was going live, when it was, but I just haven't looked online. Now I'll be honest, like I said, the last 2.5 weeks, I've been kind of out of it, dug in family stuff and work stuff and trying to get my book done. I've been like totally off everyone else's radar figuring shit out. But it's one that I've been passively watching in the background through the updates that I have seen and talking with you in chat about, my story and stuff. And but no, I'll definitely be backing. I'm pretty sure that Kenric, my co-host, is also going to back it because he's pretty excited about this too.
Yeah, it's a cool idea, and we really want people to run with it. We're actually kind of happy that we came out when we did.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, we don't want it to be a huge success.
Right.
Just because these creators, all these people, we're so desperate as creators to just want to be paid and validated for our art, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, just give me money for my art, please. And we're worried, one of our biggest fear of this thing is that we become too successful. People are like, well, there's a lot of money there. I don't need this many books. So the less money we make over our budget is great. Obviously, we want some buffers, like we talked about this stuff. But our goal is to really just get copies into people's hands so they can start selling it and use it for their brand and build it up and build their brands up and get perspective and all that.
And also to draw attention to the fact that creators can work together and not have to gouge each other, not have to compete with each other. Let's be honest, we're at Comic-Cons now. We're not competing with the fellow comic book creator next to us. We're competing with the craft person who's suddenly an artist alley.
We're competing with the person making stickers off the Silhouette machine.
Yeah. And then taking our own stuff and making stickers at the next show.
Yeah, exactly.
That's happened to a couple of my friends already. That's what we need to be worried about. We're not worried about each other anymore because only I'm making the titles that I'm making. Exactly. I'm not making Travis's Broke Down in 4 Dead Bodies.
Right.
Travis isn't making my monster books,
No, it's crazy.
You don't know that.
Every show I go to,
I hope not.
Yeah, every show I go to, I'm promoting the books around me and friends that I have there and people I know. And then, you like this kind of stuff? Oh, go check out the booth over there, because... Again, like I said, we're not competing against each other. We're competing against the people who aren't selling comics.
Exactly, And if we can get each other, and we've done this. I have friends. Richard Rivera is a great friend of mine. He would send people to my table, and I'd send people to his table, and that works.
It does.
And again, it makes you look like a rock star. For those listening to this that are doing cons, that are looking down and thinking you're competing with the guy who's selling more books than you, it's not that he has necessarily a better book. It just might be that he's hustling or she's hustling harder than you.
Yep.
Figure out a way to be loved by the people who are coming to the convention and interact with them. I love the fact that Travis Gibb shows up. He's got this cute little hat on his head. He stands there stands up like he's a little short, but he stands up behind his table and he just yells, "Papers? Who wants their papes? Who wants their papes?" And people stop. And people said, I'm just sitting there giggling.
That's awesome. Yeah, I can't tell you how many more books I've sold once I started, making friends at other tables and promoting, and sending people to other people's booths, and they would send people to my booth. My sales went up on my books. When I first started and didn't know anybody, it was hard to sell anything because nobody on the floor knew me. All my stuff was relatively new. But making friends and standing up and talking. The only time I ever sit down at a show is when I'm drawing. If somebody buys a sketch cover or something or a sketch for me, that's when I'll sit down. Besides that, I'm standing up, and I usually have my wife with me, and she usually does all the talking because she's way prettier than me. So,
right, sure.
There you go. That's why
I had to
bring
get my
Travis.
friend.
He's prettier
She
than
can't
me.
sell for me anymore. It sucks.
Oh man, dude, this makes me want to go sit and draw my story now and draw more stories because I just want to get more books out there.
Well, we're excited about you in issue 2, and working on that reign. You've got. So I don't know if you know, because like you said, you've been part of the group. So we talked about issue 1. So in issue 2, we've got Rob AnderSin, and Rob is grabbing all of his franchises. Is it all of them, Rob, or just Barbara Unleashed?
The kids.
What's that?
It's Barbara Unleashed and the Monsters books are having a crossover because unintentionally it just fit for the stories. Both main characters in those books happen to be cosplayers. So I'm going to have them meet at a Comic-Con. And we're going to be able to pay tribute to one of my friends who passed away in 2017, Keith Thomas, who does Into the Suck. Mm-hmm. And he has the artist who did some amazing work. And I was showing Travis this. C.B. Zane hit a home run recreating the Wolfman in a new way that we haven't seen him before and bringing Barbara to life in a beautiful fashion. It's kind of titillating, but it's not dirty or distasteful.
Right.
So I think he did a wonderful job. And my 1 4-page story is going to be able to advocate for 3 different titles. Actually 4, because Barbara's in 2 different titles. So it's 4 titles at once, all in 4 pages. I was proud of myself for that one.
That's awesome.
And so then we've got your story. Why don't you talk about, John? I know this is not normally what you do, but go ahead. Tell us what your story is.
So that's actually a good question because I've actually so the story I have is coming out of my Ein's Anthology horror book that comes out, which is, I mean, everybody listening knows, but I'll say it again. It's a 1,000-year tale of one family and the occult and the supernatural, and my book is all short stories told by various writers, various artists, various creative teams. That I worked with each one of them to help tell their story to make sure it fit in the world, and they all tell a story of one of the members of the family. So throughout time, they'll pick a member of the family and we'll work together and write a story. Now, the one that I'm putting in the Advocator, I've actually gone back and forth on 2 or 3 stories because I've got a bunch of stories written, I've got a bunch of stories done, and my editor Casey and I have we've been thinking about this Advocator one a lot. But okay, what's the best story to put here and hold off on putting in into book 1 because book 1 comes out next month. That's going to make sense to help promote the book. And so I've got one of them that tells a story of vampires, right? It's basically one of the Ein's members gets turned into a vampire, and it's a tale of how she feeds her family because she thinks she's trying to be good, but she's a vampire and she doesn't know how to be good. I got that one that is one of the ones we're considering. And then I also have one that is one that I wrote that the other one I colored did art on, but the one that I wrote, which tells the story of a demon named Camelot who's terrorizing a detective named Jack in 1930s. And it's basically about his birthday party and how this demon basically messes up his entire life at his birthday party. And I go back and forth on which one I think would be the better one to put into the Advocator. So I haven't quite decided yet. And Casey and I are going to meet this week to finalize which one we're going to be putting in.
I mean, my instinct goes with the birthday party one, even though I'm more interested in the vampire one, because you can express, legacy and talk and, kind of mention some of the other stories through that and make it make sense, right?
Right. That's the thing is we're trying to figure out how to make it make sense to promote the book while being a standalone story. And it just, it's an exciting project trying to make something fit into that and then also make it fit into 4 pages, which is cool. So
that's the hardest thing, and we've been telling that to a lot of people. This shows what writers really can do.
Yeah,
because you only have that short runway, so you have to take off and land it all in the same breath.
Pretty much,
and it's it is overwhelming for most writers to even think about that small of a story. They need 3 pages to explain why their characters who they are, and everyone does that half first issue origin story. And we don't get to do that. There's no origin story here. We're relying on the fact that people are going to go read our origin stories. So this story has to it's the hook. It's really what it is.
Yeah,
it's our hook.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of funny because I did something when I was working with the writers originally for the Ein's Anthology book. What I told them, I was like, I want stories, between 4 to 6 pages is fine. If the story needs it, we can go higher. No more than 16 because that takes up a lot of space. But you can go down to 1 or 2 pages if you want to. And I told him, I was like, don't think about you're telling a full story. Think about it as you're telling a snippet of someone's life, right? And what you're telling in this 4 to 8 pages can be half of a story, the middle of a story, part of a story is fine. We just want to make sure what it is. It's a hook to get people into the family and into what the story is telling. And it's kind of what I feel like, I need to do for the Advocator, but in a different way, because in this one, in my book, I can tell there's a narrative throughout the whole book. It's very subtle, but there's a narrative throughout all the stories that tells you an overall bigger story, which was very difficult to do with multiple writers, multiple artists. But with the Advocator, it's I got to tell that and get the hook all in the one without being able to expand upon it in other stories. So that's, for me, that's the hard part as a writer, to make sure it all fits in 4 pages and is compelling to make people want to go out and get the other books.
Yeah. Well, and this will be a big deal for you, right? Because you have 2 volumes of it, right, that you're working on? Of
the Ions, there'll be 4 volumes total, yeah.
Okay. But 2 are being worked on at the same time, right? You already have a lot of 2. I think last time we talked, you already had 1 and 2 kind of like mixing in between the 2.
Yeah. Book one has all the stories picked out. It's in the coloring lettering stage, and then book 2 has half the stories done and the other half are being worked on.
Yeah, so like this is kind of getting a spoiler to get you into volume 2, to get you ready for volume 2, which would be cool. The other thing we got in there, we got Brian K. Morris. You know that guy from Nature Boy Adventures? He does Rising Tide Press.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy's in there. He's got a 4-page story, so he's in yours. We got Martha, her Seed Seeker. She's funded on Kickstarter several times.
Nice.
And Joseph's rounds it out. And then Harold White. I don't know a lot about him, but his story is great.
What story is he doing?
It's called the Geneva Convention. It's kind of like a superhero story. It's a small little superhero story that he's got that's connected to another book that he has. And it is really good.
Yeah,
I was really impressed with it when I saw it, because he sent it to me like the minute I announced this. He just sent it to me. Oh, here's your story. I was like, what? what? How can you be done? He's like, oh, I've been planning. I was using this for something else. I wanted to give it to yours. Actually, the title of the book is Nisiam the Shaman Wolf. But it's pretty cool.
Nice. Yeah, Harold, I actually know him.
Really?
Yeah, he actually hired me to draw a book for him early last year. And I was working on it for a little bit. I did a bunch of rough pages, did a bunch of character designs. I designed the logo for it and everything like that. But then I ended up messaging him. I was like, hey, dude, I had some personal things come up. I had back surgery and some family stuff come up. And I was like, hey, man, I'm going to refund the money. The money you gave me back. And I can't do this story right now because I don't have time for it. I don't want to screw you over. So I ended up he gave me an advance. I ended up giving it all back. And I said, you can keep the logo. You can keep the art, whatever you want to do. But the story was really good. I liked it. And I wanted to finish it because it took place in Louisiana, and drawing the architecture from Louisiana in Bourbon Street was so much fun. But I ended up having to drop out of that book. I didn't want to, but I had to because of other reasons. But he was such a cool guy to work with, and the script was solid.
Yeah, no, I was really impressed with it when I read it. I was like, oh, wow, look at this. And I was like, damn, you're in issue 2? Because I already announced that. I was like, that sucks.
He's good people. I've done. We actually do a thing where he's at a Comic-Con. He'll call me up, and I'll be on his panel via phone. And same thing with me when I'm at a Comic-Con. I'll call him up, and he'll come onto my panel, and we help each other out that way, expanding our reaches into new markets again because we live in different areas.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool. I've been itching to do a panel at a show. I actually got invited to do a panel at the Emerald City Comic Con next year. So if they approve it, it'll be my first panel, and it'll be about Northwest Monster Comics.
Oh, nice. Panels are awesome. I love doing them. I'll give you 3 quick tips. Don't let anyone ask you about writer's block. It'll waste your time.
Right.
Because everyone will tell you how hard they have writer's block. Start it off and go, there's no such thing because you don't have worker's block.
Yeah.
Don't mention that. Number 2, we were not talking about politics. I've seen panels get off them. Make a strict rule right away. No politics in here. We're talking creating comics.
Yeah.
And then the third thing I would say to do, and this is like kind of fun, and Travis has seen this, when I make people ask me questions, I make them come up to the stage. And it's kind of fun for the whole audience.
Yeah.
Because you're getting them into the position they want to be in. So we're talking about creating comics. Don't hide behind anyone out there. Get your ass up, come behind the table, get used to where you're going to be.
Nice. Those are great. I mean, I the first 2, I'm like, I thought about those. The third one I didn't think about. That's pretty cool. Bring them on stage is a good way to interact.
Yeah, and it energizes the crowd because you've been at panels. You see everyone's got their head down and they're on their phone. Suddenly, there's this pressure of being on stage. People are watching. Like it's it becomes reality TV in front of their face.
That's awesome.
Well, and I've seen him do it a couple of times. It also gets rid of people really quick who are going to waste your time.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
That person who comes up there and is like, I want to write comics. All right, cool. What's your idea? Well, I've got this idea of this guy who, gets bit by a spider. And, well, I haven't really fleshed it out. Maybe I should think about that. Great.
Great. Have a nice day. Next, please.
Yeah, exactly. Good luck to you. Next.
Yeah. Or the people who ask the really dumb, like off the wall questions, just trying to be a jokester. It's like, come on.
Oh no, I make them pay.
Oh,
I
good.
make them pay
Good.
so bad.
I always hate that when I'm at a panel and like it's a good panel is going and somebody asks some like asinine joke question. I'm like, really? Time and place, man. Time and a place.
No, I make them explain it more. I'm
Nice.
like, but why would you ask that question?
Oh, go on, please. Go on.
Please tell us. What are you thinking about it?
The funnest part about doing panels, too, with Rob, because I've done it, is they'll follow you to your booth. So you get like a little following to the booth so you can sell them a couple of books. So that's rewarding.
Nice. That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, guys, we are about at our time. And first I want to say, everybody listening, that they should go check out The Advocate, not just the one that I'm in, but the one that's out now, too. And I both
The
do.
second
Well, if we don't
one's gonna
fund
be
this one,
better.
you're not getting one. So if you want John's story,
Oh,
you
so-
need to give us lots of money now.
Sure, that's okay. There's the truth. If you want to see my story in the book, then you have to go fund the first one, which I'm very confident in saying you're gonna make. It's gonna be funded.
Yeah.
Because I'll be pushing it all month long. But again, Travis, Rob, thank you both so much for giving your time today. I want to apologize now for it taking so long. We were supposed to meet hours ago, and I got delayed for work. So, but I'm glad we got to work out where we can meet and talk today and get this recorded and get this out for everybody.
Well, thank you for having us on.
I appreciate it. Again, everybody, Advocator links in the description below, and then let's go here. Kenric and I talk about this whole interview and see what Kenric thinks about it. Well, I word vomited the shit out of that.
Yeah. Well, you had some passion for it, and sometimes you're a kind of guy that gets your thoughts get ahead of your voice, and you got to stumble over it because you get so excited about something. And
That's
nothing
what
wrong
I do.
with that. Nothing wrong with that. So cool. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I mean, not to be biased, but I'm excited for the book. So,
Are you on this issue that's coming out for the Advocator, or
no, I'm on the next
Okay.
one. So
you're
this
on
one
the
has
next one?
So this one has to fund and sell for there to be an issue too.
Gotcha. What's their
So-
target goal? I missed it.
I think it's 2,000. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it's
Oh, that's not that
2,000.
much.
It's basically what they're doing is there's no profit from the book. All the money they make goes to print copies of the book and get those copies into the hands of the people who bought it and
Yeah.
into the hands of the creators who've submitted stories to sell at tables.
That's
So-
amazing.
The Advocator itself, as he said, is actually not going to be available online to buy right now. It's just going to be available
Right.
only at cons from the creators and in the Kickstarter campaign.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
see. So you have to go to a con to be able to get this book. You're not going to be able to order it.
Yeah, and unless you do the Kickstarter, you have
Right.
to go to a con to get it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you do the Kickstarter, it'll come to you in the mail or however
Yes.
the delivery gets there. Or
Yeah.
once it's funded, they're able to print. You can go to your con and hopefully it'll be there.
Yep. Any one of the creators will have copies of it. So that's what's kind of cool about it.
Cool.
So yeah, that's what I mean. I like it, and Travis is a fun guy, and Rob's a fun guy to talk with. So
It sounds awesome. I'm excited to check it out. I'm gonna click on the link and look at it. And
as everybody listening should also click on that link and look at it and back it.
yeah, exactly. I mean, at least a PDF copy. Do they have a PDF copy?
I don't remember if they have a PDF copy or not. I think the goal is all printed, but there might be one. I should know this.
I'm sorry. Did I trip you up?
You put me on the spot,
On
and I'm
your
like,
own
shit.
show?
I'm like, shit. I should. If you give me a second, I'll look it up real quick on my phone and tell you if there's a PDF copy. So why don't you start talking for a minute so I can look this up? And I'll tell
Oh
you.
man. Well, we've been talking for a while. No, that's a really cool idea. I mean, we have a similar idea that we've been talking about for like a year now,
Yeah.
I think. And it's not like what they're doing. This is a lot different, but it's in the same vein. And it's all about promoting independent comic books and independent artists.
And yes, there is a PDF copy for $5.
Nice.
And you can get the deluxe. You get the deluxe copy, deluxe PDF for $7, and the actual print copy for $10.
those aren't bad prices for independent stuff, and
It's great prices.
Everybody works their butt off to be a part of that, and that all goes towards printing, I would assume, not towards any kind of profit.
Yeah, no, it's all geared to print copies for people to sell.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Our first episode of 2019 in the bag.
Yeah, it's totally in the bag. I'm sick, which is
You're
always
sick.
fun.
And I'm at my mom's house. I'm at my mom's house because the power at my house went out, and so we came here for power.
Yeah, you guys had a bad windstorm in your area.
Yeah, it was so bad that it woke us up at 2 a.m. It was like 60-mile-an-hour winds. Like our trampoline blew over an 8-foot fence into our neighbor's yard.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not a 6-foot fence?
No, it's tall. It's taller than me, so it's like 7 or 8 feet tall. And there's trees and there's trees above it. It might be. I mean, who knows? I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
In Washington State, you can't have a privacy fence taller than 6 feet.
Well, then maybe it's 6 feet and has 2 feet of trees. I don't know. There's trees by it too.
No, we're gonna go with 8 feet. To get your neighbors in
8
trouble.
feet 8 feet makes my story sound better. All right.
Johnny never reads.
I don't read
comments.
Nor do I pay attention. I just comment up and make myself look like an ass.
Dude, that was the best. You're like, we were going back and forth on Facebook, and he said something to. He was talking on John AnderSin, who's been on our show a few times, and John made a comment, and John's like, "Did you not read through the comment?" And John's like, "No, of course not. I never read." And I was like, John never reads. He just makes a sly comic, hoping that it's either funny or nobody notices that he didn't read. And then, of course, Johnny goes, I don't know how to read. I was like, Johnny, yes, you just read that.
Well, it's my best defense. I don't know how to read. I don't read. But yet I'm writing a comic book, so whatever. Who knows?
Right? I don't know how to read, but I can write a comic book.
Right?
All right, guys. I think that's all we got for today.
Show, man.
We are heard everywhere. Podcasts are heard. We're on all the social medias. So come get at us, say hello, tell us what's going on. Maybe you have a story or something you want us to talk about, or something new that's happening that we haven't touched on. Let us know what's out there.
Yeah, let us know. And also, if you want to get a hold of us, you get all the socials, Twitter, you can call us at 707-656-2080. Again, 707-656-2080. And it's been so long that I had to consciously think about that number. I just couldn't remember what it was for a second.
Hey, listen to this. What?
What? What is that?
That's my voice changer. That's what I got for Christmas.
Nice. Those are cool.
Yeah. I got a couple different. It's got a couple different settings, but that's the only one where you can kind of make out what it's saying.
Yeah, it does sound like.
Yeah, gobble. All right, don't forget to open your mind
and read more. See ya.
Later. That was retarded.
Yeah, it worked out.
Okay. I'm not supposed to say that. Did you see my thing asking me what do they call Smear the Queer now? That was an honest